starting off with a freshly washed face, I'm going in with a Clinique moisturizer, and this works well for me because I have drier skin and it sets a base for my primer. I'm going to be using this e.l.f. primer to set a base for my face. It is their hydrating primer, so it does apply a little bit of moisture to your face. So if you are more of an oily skinned type of person, this may not be your best friend, but if you are drier like me, it will totally work for you. I'm going in with the NYX color correcting palette in the orange shade, and I'm using this to color correct around my mouth. It's going to basically cast out any of the darkness and make sure that my foundation applies smoothly and seamlessly. The Smashbox foundation is one of my favorites. It provides light coverage, but it is buildable and not in a cakey kind of way. I think that their shade range is great. I'm in the shade 8, and this is one of my all-time favorites for a quick everyday type of look. Next, I'm going with the LA Girl Pro Concealer, and this is in the shade Fawn. This shade is pretty close to my complexion, so it's not going to give you like a super crazy highlight unless you're a bit darker than me. But I like to add another concealer on top of this one. This is the Maybelline Better Skin, and this shade's a little lighter, so it gives you a more highlighted effect when it's blended out, and as you can see, I don't apply as much. After I apply this to my forehead, under eye area, nose, and around my mouth, I go ahead and blend it out with a damp beauty sponge. Next, I go in with the Sacha Buttercup powder, and I really love this powder. It doesn't make you look ashy, it doesn't make your under eye dry, it's very finely milled, it's yellow, so it's amazing. I just apply this underneath my eyes and around my mouth, anywhere that I want semi-highlighted and to set, just to make sure there is no oil, but most of the time there is none. And everywhere else, I just take this powder and apply it lightly. Now for my brows, I'm using this L'Oreal pencil, and to maintain the natural look, I'm just doing small hair-like strokes, and I'm connecting the tail and just filling in any areas that are super sparse. Obviously, you don't want to look like you sat there and did your eyebrows for 30 minutes. However, this is probably the longest process. Now, you don't have to do this step, but I like to have eyeshadow on whenever I have any makeup on, and this is just for an even more natural effect. My eyelids are naturally darker than the rest of my face, and I think it's kind of like that for everybody. So I'm using a shade that is just a couple shades darker than my complexion. You can even go in with your bronzer and do this, but I'm just dusting it in my crease and on my lid. Once I'm done my eyes, I go ahead and dust off all my powder, and I like to leave my under eye powder on my eye while I do my eyeshadow, so that way if I have any type of fallout, I can just dust it off with the rest of that powder. Now going in with my Black Radiance powder, I'm going to apply my bronzer slash contour. You don't have to necessarily contour, I just like everything to be precise and perfect, and that's why my lines are super clean. But you can totally skip this step and go over your entire face with a big fluffy brush. That's 100% up to you. I'm going to go back in and blend everything out so it doesn't look extremely contoured. And I'm also going down the sides of my nose just to give me a slight nose contour. I don't care too much about having a slimmer nose, it's just adding extra color into my face that the yellow powder may have washed out. To blend out my nose contour, I also like to use a eyeshadow brush. It's just easier and a lot smaller. I'm going back in with that same Buttercup powder to clean everything up that may have fell out from the contour. Lately, I've been using the L'Oreal Voluminous Mascara. I like to use the brown instead of the black because it is a little less harsh and it gives more of a natural lash type of look. Now I'm going to go in with a blush from this e.l.f. blush palette in the shade Dark, and I dropped this blush palette a while ago and broke one of the shades that was in there, but I'm pretty much going to apply this right over my contour, just a little over my contour. I don't really like to apply it on the apples of the cheeks because naturally I don't blush a whole lot. So more recently, I've been using a eyeshadow to actually do my highlight, and this is from Bare Minerals. I do not know if they still sell this anymore. I've had this for a very long time, but I just put it on my cheekbones, down my nose, on my cupid's bow. I use it to highlight my brow bone, and I love it because it gives a very natural type of glow. However, if you put more on, then you can really intensify it. You can totally skip lipstick and just apply a clear gloss, but I like to do this lip combination. I think it makes a cute pinky lip, but it's still neutral enough to be considered natural. I just go in with a lip liner and then I apply the suede lipstick over top.